And thank you for joining us here on the Neutral Zone. I am Phil Milani, joined as always by my partner in crime, my esteemed colleague. The best way to describe this person, really, is my everything. It's at Aric DiLalla.
Oh, you're a little sleepy, huh?
Oh, no, I'm ready to rock, actually. I feel just a little too energized. Too pumped up. Yeah.
Got it. That'll happen to you after a fourth straight dub.
Yeah, that was a dub that the Broncos, they pulled it out of a hat, I think, Aric. Yeah. You know, even Sean Payton after the game was like, hey, if you looked at the box score here, the Vikings are better in a lot of different categories.
Yep.
But you know what category matters the most?
The dub category.
Yeah, the final score.
The points.
The points.
Broncos had one more.
They had one more. Yeah, 21-20.
I don't know if you would say an exciting game, but certainly an exciting final few minutes.
Yes, a lot of field goals, Aric.
If you like field goals, this was a game for you.
Yeah. And Josh Dobbs, that story, tremendous.
That man just does some sort of magic things.
Yeah. He was awesome out there. He was fun. He was fun to watch there for the first few quarters. Then when it got serious, I was like, okay, stop doing that.
Just stop it.
I was like, you can't do that anymore.
Sean Payton, after the game, said he went to Joe Lombardi and was like, I don't remember Josh Dobbs being 6'3" and playing like this.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's tough to bring down.
Yeah.
There were a few times Cooper had him in his hands. DJ Jones was there.
Shook him off through a tub.
Yeah.
A couple other times you're like, you feel like you've got him. Boom, long pass to TJ Hawkinson.
But I will say the pressure around him, even though it didn't result in a ton of sacks, that pressure really affected some of his decision-making, especially late there in the game. They were really getting to him.
Yeah, obviously the crucial interception in the fourth quarter, that was kind of the moment I thought, hey, the Broncos are going to take the lead here, take control of this game. I'm not able to punch it in the red zone.
They did not do that.
But a big play there. What was it? Josie Jewell got his arm.
Yeah, Josie got him there, and then Jaquan McMillan.
Machine.
He just
takeaway machine. He does
he's
the turnovers.
A vacuum. They just come right to him. Yeah, he does the turnover. He's a baker.
Oh,
yeah. He does all the turnovers.
Nice.
Yeah,
and then in the final moments, Phil, you're thinking 1 point game. They've got 1 minute and 3 seconds. I think 3 timeouts. It's not a scenario that's like impossible by any means for the offense. And you're
like a Mahomes type of a deal.
Oh
like
gosh.
you're just like, how many touchdowns in that match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what, you probably need 40 yards in that scenario, something like that?
Like before the intentional grounding, it was really sort of a tense situation there. I mean, I think they just needed like 20 or 30 yards, especially at Mile High, just to have an attempt. You know, you don't even want to get that thing to an attempt.
No.
Even if it's 60 yards or whatever, you just don't want that.
Yeah, I think Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach, said after the game, hey, we were looking for like the plus 46, plus 47, could have given it a shot from there.
Yeah.
Long field goal with a chance to win. There was a 2-play sequence there where it was 3rd and short, and then it ended up being 4th down, and the Vikings had to use back-to-back timeouts.
Yeah.
And when they did that and went down to 1 timeout, I think that kind of changed the tone of the drive because all of a sudden now they're up against the clock. They don't have as much time to work with. That final possession, Justin Simmons with a couple PBUs.
Yeah, on Hawkinson.
DJ Jones able to force an intentional grounding play. Defense came up big. That's not an easy situation. And I think the final 3 possessions, they came up with stops.
Yeah,
well, I guess there was a field goal because the fake punt, but
that was sort of a similar situation the week before when the Broncos got the ball with like a minute to go and needed a field goal.
Yeah.
You know, like a very similar type of situation. But unlike the Bills, the Broncos defense came up with a stop this week.
Yeah, It was a big win, obviously. You know, Sean Payton talked after the game that there's kind of a level of exhaustion that it takes to climb out of a hole,
to 500,
get back to 500. And had the Broncos lost that game, I think it would have been, if the field goal misses last week, you're just like, man, we were so close, and all of a sudden you're 4-6, and it still feels like you got this big uphill climb.
Yeah.
There's an element of relief, and Phil, the Broncos can't, I don't think, win consistently playing the way they did against the Vikings, but there's something to be said for you get outgained, they beat you on 3rd down, they beat you in the red zone, beat you in rushing yards, and you still find a way to win the football game. That's I think that says something about the kind of the makeup and the grit of the team.
Yeah, this team is really taken on Sean's personality, if you ask me. Just the sort of a confidence and a toughness that is associated with this team right now. Where you even hear Russell Wilson talking about it post game. He was like, he was saying to the guys, "Look, this is the kind of defense we're going against. We just got to outlast them. Let's not make a mistake. Let's just keep sticking with it." And then finally, it all came down to that fourth quarter drive, Eric. And there was a 4th and short there where Courtland Sutton makes a one-handed catch. There was PI on it, but the catch was still very impressive. And,
really good catch.
In a very intense situation there. And then they're able to find Samaje Perine, I think 3 or 4 times on that drive where they just dumped it off to him, and he was able to get, good chunks, 17 yards, 10 yards. He was able to get really, that was the most success the Broncos had on offense, sustained, where it was Perine on these dump offs. And Sean Payton even talked about just the way that the Vikings were attacking the Broncos. It was going to have to be those types of plays. And then all of a sudden, Courtland Sutton makes a tremendous catch in the end zone where he just goes up, high points the ball, and that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, and Phil, this was one of those games. Justin Simmons says this a lot. Russell Wilson says this a lot. You point to 3 or 4 game-altering plays, and it can change the outcome. And the Broncos in this game had to have 5 or 6 of those go their way. There was the fumble that the Broncos recovered. I mean, the Vikings were up by 8 on the edge of field goal range, and then Madison loses the ball.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big play in the football game.
Yeah.
The 4th down conversion to Courtland Sutton. On the final drive, Samaje Perine fumbles the ball, and it's out of bounds by maybe a foot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how close the Broncos were to losing this football game.
Oh, yeah.
If that stays in bounds and the Vikings recover, it's over. And they just had those plays go in their favor. The ball bounced their way, and they were able to come out with a win. And I thought on that last drive, the ability to not take a sack and to, the Vikings, they blitz a lot, right? But then they'll show blitz a lot and then they back off.
Yeah.
And the ability to kind of tell what they're doing and make the right decision is vitally important. Russ did that on that drive. Really, I think a couple drives before, the throw to Jerry Jeudy in the end zone on 3rd down in the red zone, a tremendous throw.
Yeah.
Guy got a little bit of Jerry's arm, and Jerry's not able to haul that pass in. But the Broncos' ability to handle the pressure, Russ didn't get, I don't have the number in front of me, but didn't feel like he got sacked a ton, right?
Yeah, I think it was 3 sacks. Yeah. But I will say those sacks were in 3rd and long situations or situations that ended drives, essentially,
right. There's one in the red zone on the first drive that
I do think that Russ, when he takes sacks, sometimes you got to live with this, but he likes to do that second act, So when he's trying to create, and that's some of the magic that comes with Russ, sometimes when he gets taken down in those situations, that's just the end of the drive.
Yeah. There was one in the red zone in the second half where he didn't have much of a chance. Garrett Bowles kind of tried to block the guy.
Yeah.
And then Russ stepped up in the pocket and guy spun and was right into Russ. I mean, there were some that weren't.
And the Vikings defense is a really good defense.
Yeah.
Brian Flores does a great job with that group. And Russell Wilson said they unloaded the whole playbook on him. So a lot of mental discipline that it takes, especially not to turn the ball over too, Eric.
And here's what I'll say about the Broncos winning that football game. The Vikings, as we talked about from a yardage standpoint, 3rd down, whatever stat you want to pick except turnovers, the Vikings were better. And you look at the box score, like you said, you probably think, hey, the Vikings won that football game. But what the Broncos defense was able to do, and the offense at times in terms of, the end of the first half there, the Broncos get a field goal, they get a stop, and then they get another field goal. And instead of 10-3 or 10-6, it's 10-9, and it changes the complexion of the game. The Broncos are able to just hang around long enough. And in the NFL, typically, if you're winning a football game and you have opportunities and you don't put the team away, it's going to come back and bite you. And last night, it felt like the Vikings had a lot of opportunities where they could have put the football game away, and they did not. And then, lo and behold, the Broncos have one drive to win the football game, and they go do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like from the Vikings' perspective, you just don't want to be in that situation there at the end of the game. And
should have never come to that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, somehow the Broncos continue to force these turnovers. I mean, they're just taking the ball away. And it's crazy to me because, after taking it away 9 times in 2 weeks.
9 times.
9. You know that the Vikings were like, okay, ball security is going to be huge this week. Don't turn the ball over. And the ball was on the ground a lot. Eric Dobbs, a couple of bobbled snaps there. Fortunate to get all of those back.
Yep.
And then, they just continue to make plays out there, this defense, and really put the Broncos in a position to be able to have a drive like that at the end of the game. And, you're not going to win a ton of games have sustained success just by relying on this. And, the Vikings, I think they did a nice job early in the game rushing the ball. I think they had 72 yards rushing in just the first quarter.
Correct, yeah.
And Sean Payton on Monday said, look, like our gap integrity was not as good as it needed to be. And so maybe a stop that was just going to be 2-yard gain turns into like 9-yard gain. Broncos, that's some areas that they need to work on, stopping the run still some issues there. And then, look, this Broncos team had been running the ball very well, and that was something that they wanted to stick with. But the Vikings just made a decision to sort of take that away. A lot of run blitzes, really, Eric, by the Vikings defense. So I think that it tells you a couple of things about the Broncos is that, look, they didn't play well, but they still found a way to win the game. So there's a room to improve here. It's not like the last couple of weeks where they've been winning. They've been like perfect games. So I think that's encouraging.
You're saying the last few have been or they haven't been?
Have not been perfect games, So, like, it's not like they're going out there and just playing lights out every week.
Right.
There's still room for this Broncos team to get better and better and better, yet they're still winning. So I think that is a good sign. And then the other thing is that when the Vikings decided, okay, we're taking away the run, and then the Broncos found other ways to kind of move it there at the end, and that's encouraging to me, just knowing that, look, you can be multiple in the way that you attack teams. And, they were playing coverage and they were taking away the run. So then you got to sort of figure out, how can we get the ball on the outside to our playmakers? P. Ryan made that happen. Judy had a nice screen play, a couple things on the outside there. So they were able to figure out ways to move the ball when they needed to.
Yeah, Judy had that little pump fake. Got the guy in the air.
People fall for that.
I mean, that was impressive. I love
it's
that.
like it must be something instinctual when you see the ball go up like that to just jump. You can't leave your feet.
He wasn't gonna throw that ball.
Yeah, he was 5 yards downfield. You can't do that.
I mean, there were some critical mistakes. You think after that Judy play, there's then I think a run for no gain, and then the Broncos line up to go for it on third down.
Oh yeah,
and
the Bulls.
Well, I think
formation.
It actually might have been little Jordan Humphrey. He got chewed out a little bit on the sideline by Sean Payton afterwards. I think he may not have been where he was supposed to be, but you wipe out an easy 3rd-and-1 conversion that Russ converts via a sneak, and instead you leave 4 points off the board. So you got to clean some of those things up. I will say in regards to the takeaways, it's one thing I think to force the Chiefs into 5 turnovers, right? Like that's uncharacteristic of them. Mahomes is not going to throw 3 picks every game, even though he's done that 2 of the last 3 times against the Broncos, or 2 of the last 4 times. But when you play a quarterback like Josh Dobbs, who's or he's playing great, but a reserve quarterback in a new system, I think that's a guy you look at and you think we should be able to get an interception here. And then the first one was just kind of if it works, it's a great call by Kevin O'Connell, but to have kind of Hawkinson take the snap and then pitch it to Dobbs, you're having a quarterback be a running back, and maybe he's not used to getting hit that way.
Like that. I will say that K-Jack.
Well, but Browning had ripped the ball out before that. You're right. K-Jack definitely laid the hammer there, but there was only the Mattinson fumble was kind of the only one that was fluky or lucky, and so I think that this team is just prioritizing it. They're making the plays they need to, and
they're playing fast.
They're playing fast, and physical. And I think you look ahead to, this game against the Browns, another rookie quarterback, DTR, coming up.
Maybe Joe Flacco, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, you would look at that and say, okay, well, hopefully we can force a rookie quarterback into more mistakes. And so that's where, are they going to force 4 turnovers every game? No, probably not. But I do think there's something to be said for this is a stretch where you play some rookie quarterbacks, some young quarterbacks. that part of it to me does feel sustainable, where you should be able to get one or two and force, especially if it's a close game late, like you should be able to force these guys into making a mistake or two. And so that part of it to me does feel like you can keep it going.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a combination of like sometimes there's fluky or lucky sort of bounces or whatever. And then that part you feel fortunate about. But the other part is like the first one when Browning rips that ball out. This is what they're being coached to do. And then not only are they ripping the ball out, there's a lot of Broncos in the area to like recover these things. So, and they're all playing really confidently. So those things I think are coaching, and they're prioritizing that aspect of playing defense. So yes, certainly, is those that playing that way is sustainable, but constantly every week just being like, thank goodness we had 4 turnovers today. That part of it is you don't want to just rely on that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. No, that's true. And the Broncos are going to play another good defense this coming week, and it's probably going to be another tight, grinded out.
They're the best defense in the NFL, probably, right?
Yeah, and Miles Garrett
leads the league in sacks.
Just ridiculous. And that man is just chiseled.
He's so huge, yet he's still got the six-pack.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Aaron Donald in that way.
And you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, I didn't know you didn't want to be kind of boastful or brag.
I didn't want to say it.
It's true.
I didn't want to say it. So,
but I think there's something to be said for even when things aren't going well, you don't have your best stuff.
Still win.
I mean, there was a point in the third quarter, Phil, where it seemed like the Vikings might just run away with it.
Yeah, when you were talking about that 8-point lead, and
they've got the ball.
The Broncos offense had a bunch of 3 and outs.
Yep.
Time of possession was really in the Vikings' favor there. You thought, okay, maybe this Broncos defense is starting to get tired a little bit. They're running the ball. So
down near the 30-yard line, and you're like, gosh, even a field goal here puts you in a really bad spot. And they came up big in that situation. They came up big, for them to, I think it was either 3 and out or maybe 1 first down, but the Broncos force a punt, and the team's going to get a chance to down 2, get the ball back. They run that beautiful fake punt that the Broncos we're nowhere near, 30-something yard gain, and you're feeling like, and then it went to 3rd and 20, and they convert again. Back-to-back times, you're like, man, is this it? And then the Broncos come up with a big stop, hold them to a field goal, and give themselves a chance. And then there's something about Russ in those moments. I mean, I know Samaje Perine did a lot of it, and Cortland Sutton made a great catch, but I think at this point, Russ he leads the league in fourth quarter comebacks this year. He's showing poise in those big moments. Certainly the kind of the situational stuff the Broncos are really good at, which is coaching, obviously. And it's just good teams find ways to win kind of grinded out games, and the Broncos did that.
I just think, like, when you look at Russ, his strength is really when you're improvising and you're able to just move around a little bit, dance with the ball, let things open up, and then find plays down the field. This is where he excels, and he's one of the best in the NFL at this part of the game. He's not necessarily always going to be that guy who is 1, 2, 3, boom, the ball is out. A lot of anticipating and throwing to spaces, and then all of a sudden, boom, the receiver's there. He can do that, but that's not his strength. Like, he's really, really good in that situation where it's a 2-minute drill. You're in the hurry up. The defense is a little bit off. The defense is worried about giving up the big play. They're maybe not rushing the same way. He's just really, really talented in those situations. And, he's able to make those plays happen, where the defense is way down the field, and then, boom, he just dances around, gets Perine the ball in space. Or the one where he threw it to Sutton, he's kind of buying time and lets that ball rip there and, puts it in a spot where Sutton really could box out and catch the ball. That is where Russell Wilson really excels. And it doesn't always have to be at the end of the game winning a comeback. He's able to do that in the course of the game, make these sort of second act plays. But that is where he is really good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's his strength. I will say there were some rhythm throws that, like, early in the game, I think first half, stays in the pocket, launches it deep to Cortland Sutton down the left sideline. Cortland makes a nice catch, but it's right over the head of the defender. I mean, it was a well-thrown ball. You think of the one to Jerry Jeudy in the end zone.
That was nice.
I mean, you've got pressure in your face.
He couldn't get around
Stays there, whips it in there. That's a nice throw. And so some of these things are – hey, if Jerry Jeudy catches that, or the Broncos take that Courtland Sutton catch and turn it into a touchdown instead of a field goal, maybe we're sitting here and saying, man, Russ like really operated well in the pocket and on timing and made some rhythm throws.
That's not his strong part, though. That's not where he's like the best. He's like the best in the NFL with these other things.
I agree, but I think,
in my opinion,
it's part of his like. I think we saw that it was part of his game, though, that he's capable. Like, I don't want to make it sound like he can't make those.
Yeah,
throws.
no, he can do that. Yeah, but that's not where he's really, really, really good. He makes magic happen out there sometimes. When at the end of the game. So I'm not trying to knock Ross. I'm just saying that's not necessarily his. That's not his bread and butter.
Yeah,
that's not the meat and potatoes. I would say. You know what I mean? That's not like. What's another thing that's like bread and butter?
I don't know.
What's another meat and potatoes, bread and butter? I don't know. There's something else like that, but that's not it. That's not it for us. But he's able to do some of that. The Sutton play, that was an amazing catch down the sideline, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
he put the ball in a nice spot, but that was an amazing catch.
Yeah,
Sutton is playing out of his mind.
He's playing really well, and probably the best. I don't know. Is it over dramatic to say, like, in terms of the quality of catches he had, like the best game he's had in maybe ever?
Yeah.
I mean, just like
he's just like
he had 3 catches that were spectacular.
Yeah,
that one down the sideline, the one-handed catch on 4th down, the one in the end zone. I mean, those were all. You look at those catches, you're like, wow, each one of those alone would be a great play, and to have 3 of them in that game.
He's like kind of like a great counter to Jerry Jeudy, because Jeudy is always like the guy who's like wide open, and he's like creating this space like with his route running and his speed and stuff. And Sutton is not the guy who always creates the separation. He's oftentimes like covered and plastered, but somehow comes down with the ball. And 8 touchdowns this year. I would say like maybe like 5 or 6 of those have been like just incredible plays. Where he's like toe tapping in the end zone, or like
in traffic,
jumping over 2 guys, or I mean, they've been really. There's been a few easy ones, but not most of them are like. I like the easy ones, but he has a knack for his body position, his size, where the sideline is, like just knowing where he has a knack for that.
And Russ clearly has a comfort level knowing
throwing
that
he's going to come down with it.
Courtland hasn't always, the last couple of years made those
not been
plays.
That, yeah.
And there have been times I thought 2 years ago he didn't really put himself in position to make those plays. Last year he showed the explosiveness, but still wasn't quite, he wasn't converting on all of them. This year, I mean, I can't think of many situations where they've gone to him and he hasn't delivered. I mean, maybe the Washington play where he's getting dragged down. But otherwise, you're going to Courtland in the end zone. He's making plays. Yeah,
I think that I talked to Nate Jackson about this on the show. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called Broncos Weekend.
Someone mentioned it.
He just talked about how you could just tell that Courtland is really trusting like who he is now. Like maybe the last year or two, like he's been thinking about that knee a little bit. Maybe when he's planting, he's not like trusting the ball coming into his hands. Now he is. Like Nate said, like as a receiver, I can see a difference in Courtland, and just he's just really comfortable, out there now, and he's really trusting the receiver that he is, and I mean, the way he's playing right now, I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the league. And Sean Payton was asked about him after the game and said, look, this guy's a tremendous teammate. Huh?
By me.
Oh, you asked that?
Yes.
Oh my God. How did you know? How did you come up with that?
In my head, I thought, what was the biggest play of the game? And I thought, I'll ask about that.
Oh, well, that's smart.
The questions,
not a lot of people
questions
go that way.
before me didn't do it. So
they didn't do that. And then you were like,
I was like, I'll do it.
I'll do the smart one.
I'll do the one where
you like the smart ones.
I'll do the one where they won the game.
Yeah. That's a good question to ask.
That's what I thought about.
It kind of sounded like Sean was just kind of like, I didn't know this much about Courtland Sutton, but like now that I'm here, I'm like, man, this guy's sensational. Like that was kind of the gist of it. I mean, a little bit of paraphrasing there, but that was sort of the vibe of his answer.
Yeah,
good teammate.
I mean, what he's doing right now is very impressive.
Yeah,
and again, I mean, we've said it a few weeks in a row now, but they don't win the game if Courtland doesn't play that way.
Yeah.
And I will say, you talk about his focus and his mentality and all that. That's important. But I do think, from a technical standpoint, he spent the offseason like working on grip strength and arm strength, and being, he felt like when he was going up to make those contested catches, he didn't have the strength he needed to make those catches. And so he spent a lot of time on it in the offseason, the Jordan Beasley workout plan.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, you're seeing it pay off now.
Yeah, you like walk by him in the hallway, shake his hand? Broke it.
Yep.
Just broke it. So
like, Cortland, stop.
Please.
Yeah.
I can't have a cast on the neutral zone.
Right.
People will wonder what's going on.
Oh, yeah, they'll wonder what happened.
Yeah, so when
It'll be like a Burrow situation.
When I'm not recording,
we'll have to delete this clip.
Cast. When we record, I just saw it off.
Right.
So, yeah. Twice a week.
That's what you do?
I'm sawing that bad boy off. Yeah. I was like, please don't break it again.
Yeah, don't do that.
Not again. So, yeah, I mean, he's been playing really well. And the other thing I thought that was interesting after the game, Eric, was just Sean Payton was asked about, like, look, a lot of these guys in his locker room have never won 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
You know, certainly not with the Broncos.
Justin Simmons is the only one with the Broncos to do it.
Yeah, and he didn't even really play that much weeks 1 through 4 in 2016.
No.
You know, so this is the first time these guys have experienced this success with this team. And he just said, like, look, I want these guys to win in this locker room. I want them to experience this type of feeling. I thought that was a nice sentiment. And then also Russ talking post-game said, like, look, this has been nice and we're really confident, but, like, we really haven't done anything.
Yeah, who asked that question?
Was that you?
That was me.
Man, you were on fire
on
last
a roll.
night. Yeah, you were butter.
Well, I asked Russ, I said, hey, you've had a lot of success in your career. These guys haven't done it. And I asked it not in like hey, how do you keep having success? But more just like, hey, what does it mean to you to see Cortland Sutton like happy, you know, and to see these guys celebrate wins? Like Justin Simmons has been like miserable at points over the last few years, having to talk
Same
about
with you.
losing. Yeah, having to talk about losing again and again. And so Justin Simmons, I mean, it's his birthday yesterday. He's happy. Cortland Sutton's walking around. I mean, these guys are just they're feeling the joy and the confidence of winning. And so I was like, Russ, it's got to mean something after what you guys have worked through to see these guys experience this for the first time. It's like you go to Christmas morning, the first time you see your kids open presents, you're like, oh, that's nice to watch them like have that joy of like opening Christmas presents for the first time.
Yeah.
Like you've done it a long time, but this is the first time they're
really doing
finding
this.
the teddy bear under the tree.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice.
That is nice. It's fun to, so you're thinking like in this situation, Russ is a little like Santa Claus? You know, he's bringing joy to the children?
No. He's not. He's like the parent watching the kids unwrap the presents.
Oh, but he's bringing the joy. You know,
I think it's kind of like the wins are the joy.
So Sean is Santa. Who is Santa? You just tell me who's Santa, and then I can understand.
I am.
Oh, you're Santa. Okay, got it. I understand.
I ask the questions that bring them joy.
Okay, got it.
So it's me.
Okay. Now I understand, because before I was a little confused.
Yeah.
I was
confused.
If you just
kind of follow along, it makes sense.
Yeah. A lot of present openings. So,
a lot of presents.
Moving forward here, they got a tough test against the Browns. On Monday, Sean Payton said that he spoke to Kareem Jackson, and they're going to have to wait and see what happens. The league is looking into the hit that he had on Josh Dobbs there, which is particularly interesting because P.J. Locke is still injured. Sean Payton was asked about will Locke maybe be available this Sunday, and he said we'll know more later in the week. So that is going to be an area to pay attention to this week, Eric.
Yeah. And, the Browns are a physical football team. I would imagine they're going to try to establish the run. They're going to try to win time of possession. I mean, they didn't have a pretty win either this week.
Against the Steelers?
13-10, I believe, against the Steelers.
That's the AFC North. That's how they play football.
The fourth quarter, they just traded punts until the Browns finally went down and won the football game. So whoever's in there is going to need to be tough and ready to stop the run. I think you got to force DTR to throw the football, I think.
Yeah. The gap integrity is...
integrity is everything.
I like integrity.
I will say, though, you talk about a 4-game winning streak and keeping the momentum, and how do you not let yourself get too high?
No, Sean's going to keep him locked.
Well, I just think it's, maybe you come off a perfect performance or you light somebody up. That's one thing. There was a lot to correct.
A lot to work on.
I think if you're the Broncos, you feel, hey, we were fortunate to win that football game.
Yeah.
We got to really buckle in here and make some improvements if we want this to keep going. So I don't think there should be any issue this week in terms of focus or mentality. Browns are 7-3. This is a big game in terms of the wild card standings.
You happy the Broncos are now in that graphic? They're in the hunt now.
Well, they were in there last night at 4-5.
Yeah, but
now that they're 5-5, they're really in it.
They're really in the hunt right now. They're number 2 in the AFC West, Eric, which is that's amazing.
I think
after 1-5.
I believe they were 14th in the AFC on Sunday morning and 4th in the AFC West, and now they're 10th and second.
Yeah. So
and if you beat the Browns, be 6-5.
Right there.
You'll be. It's possible that depending on what else happens, Broncos could be right there, 8 seed, maybe even the 7 seed. We'll have to see what happens the rest of the league. But Phil, we're in the full swing now.
We're in it. I will say this: to be talking about relevant, meaningful football is nice. You know what I mean? Just like this game on Sunday against the Browns, it means something. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And that's nice. It's not like they're just like, hey, let's see if so and so can have a nice game or whatever other angles. It's like, no, the outcome of the game matters here.
Yeah.
So I mean that is fun for us certainly, and definitely you could see that for the players.
And it's obviously the latest in the season. The Broncos have been 500 or better since 2021. Not that long ago, but that team was 7-6. But it also, they were 3-0 and then 3-4.
Yeah, this feels way different.
This is an ascending. We talk about in free agency.
I love ascending
players.
I love ascending.
We like ascending teams. And
getting better.
Every game is tough, right? But you look at the next couple of games, and
you love the schedule.
There's some chances to get some more wins.
You love the schedule.
We talked about maybe after the Packers game, like the Broncos are going to have to go 1-5. They're going to have to go 9-2 the rest of the way to make the playoffs. I mean,
and you're saying it's possible.
It sounds ridiculous. Now, if you go 5-2,
that's possible.
I mean, each week you get a win, it becomes a little bit easier.
10 is sort of that magic number.
Yeah, and I will say, you've got to lose the 2 to the right teams, right? Like if you lose to the Browns
AFC teams,
and the Texans, it's going to be tough.
No.
You can maybe drop 1 to an AFC team, but you've got to, if you can keep this rolling, the Broncos are going to be in good shape. I don't want to. 7-3 Browns versus 5-5 Broncos, and you're looking at next week 6-4, right? Texans versus 5.
These are good teams.
6-5 Texans, a Detroit matchup in a couple of weeks that might be the highlight of that slate.
How about that Detroit comeback against the Bears?
Yeah, I didn't even realize they were down,
smokes.
and then I looked up and I was like, oh, they're down 14 points.
Yeah, I think they were down 11 with 4 minutes to play.
Yeah, they won the game.
They won the game. Jared Goff a couple turnovers in that one, but yeah. No, I mean, they're winnable games, though, for sure, with this Broncos team now. So.
And, part of me is like, hey, if the Broncos can find that complete game that they haven't had in a while.
Haven't had that.
The Chiefs game I thought was pretty close to that. I know the offense wasn't perfect, but it was efficient.
Yeah.
If you can play your first complete game in a few weeks, I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And you'll probably need it at some point here to keep winning. But
yeah, I could tell that last night, maybe some of the fans were starting to get a little bit
was the booing
angsty.
Was the booing a clue?
That was the clue. Yeah, that's how I could tell. I was like, let me think about what's happening here. I could tell. This seems like maybe it's going to be another similar type of game where you got to be patient just because this is going to be sort of a defensive slog.
I mean, it might be whoever gets to 10, 13 points wins this game.
Yeah, and exactly.
I imagine it'll come down right to the end.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an ugly. I think that's what Mike McGlinchey said after this game. He said that was a gross football game.
Ooh, and offensive linemen, they love gross.
Yeah, but they won.
Yeah,
and that's beautiful.
And that, wow.
Well,
the juxtaposition. That was good. It's not going to get better than that. What do you think about the Pizza Hut Uber to celebrate? Pizza Hut Uber, Eric, for Sean Payton.
Well, yeah. So that's like an Uber Eats scenario?
I think that's what he's talking. Not a sponsor of this program.
No.
Nor is Pizza Hut. But
no.
But this is what's come up.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
It was late.
It's late.
Of course, us, we, after covering the game, just straight back to work.
Right. Yeah.
But Sean took a second to just have some Pizza Hut. which I think that's okay after a while.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Urban Meyer on the golf cart, all sad, eating Pizza Hut.
Oh,
after the Big Ten championship that one time when he lost.
Oh, he was sad.
Or national championship, something like that. There's a kind of a viral photo of that.
Of Pizza Hut.
So I think of Pizza Hut kind of with sadness.
Oh, really? Because like as a kid, you would go to Pizza Hut for the birthday party.
More of a CC's guy myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
The mac and cheese pizza.
Oh.
And you could do all sorts of things.
The red cup at Pizza Hut is sort of like burned into my brain.
Oh, yeah.
The buffet.
Oh.
The dessert pizza there, it doesn't really, it's hard to top. I'll just say it's hard to top.
Well,
I don't think that's
something, I think.
Yeah, some icing, I think. Yeah.
They're like, eat this pizza made of chocolate and icing.
Yeah. That's why it's a birthday situation. Yeah, I like that.
Parents are like, no.
Yeah, exactly. No sugar. So, yeah. So, sushi, bad. Pizza Hut, good.
Well, I think it was more the options were limited.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Kind of like the play sheet, when you don't convert third downs.
Yeah. What'd you think about that? 80%, Aric.
What?
Sean Payton said that because of the lack of snaps, 80% of the game plan was unused.
I mean,
that's crazy to me.
The Broncos didn't convert a third down until, the final?
Late.
Yeah, final quarter. I mean, it was bad for a long time, but they won.
Exactly. They still won the game. But, you think about the hours that these coaches put in. And, Russell Wilson talking about that postgame, like, hey, these guys are here till like 3 a.m. trying to help us win. And 80% of what you were hoping to do against the Vikings just goes out the window because of the way the game's unfolding. I mean, that's got to be hard.
I will say that's, I think the Vikings are maybe viewed as kind of like a middle of the pack team just because of how they started, but it's a good football team.
That's a good squad.
They didn't have Justin Jefferson, but Jordan Addison has speed. TJ Hawkinson, that defense is playing well. I mean, even when you look at their 0-3 start, we said this, they lost all 5 of their losses now are by 1 possession.
If Jefferson plays in that game, maybe we're talking about a different deal here too, because this guy is dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say, right? Like you can never fully know.
Well, of course, it's a hypothetical.
Maybe it changes. Maybe it disrupts some of the
that's
the ability to go. Maybe they stop going to Hawkinson.
Yeah.
To try to force the ball to Jefferson. Who knows?
Yeah. I think 7 for 55 for Hawkinson, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. I think
below his season average. I think one of those two was a big play. So
yeah. No, I know.
Pretty much slowed him down. You wanted to get Josh Dobbs in passing situations. I think 3rd and longs.
Yeah. Did that nice.
A couple times he got away and
you got to live with it.
Runs forever. There was one toward the end of the game where Browning shoved him out of bounds, and you could tell he was just like, "Gosh, won't you go down?"
Yeah, he is slippery.
Yeah,
I was impressed by Dobbs.
Oh my gosh,
I think easy to root for this guy.
Yeah,
just not against the Broncos.
No.
Now moving forward, though, you're like, hey, this is a nice story.
Well, now you want the Vikings to be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're like, man, that's a good win.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about that nickname, Pastronaut? That's up there.
It's good.
Oh, you're not impressed?
Well, it's been a little overused.
Overdone.
A little much.
Got it.
I'm not opposed to it.
I will. I know we don't normally do shout-outs here on a Monday, but that was tremendous, the broadcast on Sunday Night Football. Really good. Really tremendous establishing shots of Denver and Colorado. It's a great broadcast. Tarico, Collinsworth,
if you're listening, great job.
As good as it gets. So
that's true. The pregame, like the lights in the stadium.
Ooh, the bracelet? Yeah, those are cool.
The glow-in-the-dark parachutes.
Very cool.
There was a shot from, it must have been the plane where the people jumped out of. There was like a shot of the stadium from far away. That was cool.
Cool. At night, that scoreboard glows. I mean, it's even more massive, the feel of it.
Yeah. That's all you can see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the Broncos won.
And they won.
So we'll have some Thanksgiving treats maybe coming up later in the week.
Perfect.
Some fun activities surrounding the holiday coming up, Aric. And we'll also look ahead against.
That's what you always like to do.
I love it. And we'll talk about the Browns game a little bit more here, dive more in depth.
Love it.
Into the matchup. So that's coming up later in the week.
I feel like I'm getting ready for a Northwestern Iowa game.
Oh, yeah. The high grass.
I know this is going to be
some weather,
ugly.
Maybe some weather. Yeah,
ugly.
Exactly. Yeah, some smash mouth.
Yeah. Who wants him more? Who's tough?
Who wants it? Who wants it? Yeah, exactly. We were so focused on the game, we didn't even mention that Ben Swanson's not here.
Is he? Oh, yeah.
Don't know what happened to him.
No.
I'm not sure. I heard that he tried to get up on the scoreboard with Miles. at the start of the fourth, and then
Too scared.
we just never saw him again.
Oh, I hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay. Yeah, I think he's okay, but we just haven't seen him.
So he's back.
He's back. He's back in Denver.
I didn't see him, but
so
I'll take your word for it.
Maybe he'll join us later. Who knows?
Probably not.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. For Aric DiLalla, I am Phil Milani. You've been listening to
The Neutral Zone.
Listen up, Denver Broncos fans. Paramount Plus is your streaming home to catch every local NFL on CBS game this season. Visit ParamountPlus.com to start your free trial and stream Russell Wilson and the boys as they battle the league's best. Plus, get an all-access pass to 24/7 NFL content with CBS Sports HQ, Fantasy Football Today, NFL Slime Time, and more. And this year, Paramount Plus is your streaming destination for Super Bowl 58. Another action-packed Broncos season with the NFL on CBS awaits. So stream Paramount Plus from any device all season long.